Hello students, today I am here again with the next video based on the articles. Earlier in the first video I have already explained articles 14 to 19. Today we will discuss the rest of the articles. Now coming to the first article, that is article 20. Okay, let us start with Article 20. Article 20 says that protection in respect of conviction for offences. That is, the Constitution gives us certain laws in order to protect a particular citizen if he is guilty of a crime. Under Article 20, the following protections are available to a citizen. Let us discuss the first one. Against greater penalty than what it is prescribed under the law is prohibited. Let us understand this by an example. For example, if a child is giving a final examination, then what happens? He is caught being cheated. Then he is produced in front of the invigilation committee and strict action is taken against him that this paper of that child, whatever the paper he is giving that day, for example English, then that paper will not be checked. And again, a strict law is again made on that particular day that if a child is caught being cheated, then he will not be allowed to give any of the papers and he has to repeat that class. So if the person has committed any crime, then he has to pay the penalty which is fixed at that time only, but not more than that. Just let us go back to the same example. That is, if the child has done cheating, then only the particular English paper will not be checked, but that child will be allowed to give all the papers and he will not be allowed to repeat the class. Next one, no one can be punished for the offense twice. So let us take another example, that if a person has done any crime, for example he has done a robbery and he has been kept in the prison for 2 months, then again when he is released and he is again doing the same crime, that is robbery, he will not be punished for the same offense twice. That is the meaning of this. Next one, a person cannot be compelled to be a witness where he himself is accused. For example, if a person has done something crime, then he cannot be produced in the court of law as a witness, कि वो अपने आप के लिए वो witness नहीं खड़ा हो सकता है. That is the meaning of this. Now coming to Article 21, it gives you right to life and personal liberty. But under this article, you have been given certain indirect rights like right to privacy. Right to privacy का मतलब ये होता है कि if you want to stay alone, then nobody will disturb you. Again, one more right that is given under right to life is right to health. That is, if you have the right to be healthy. For example, if any prisoner, if he is not in good health and then he has to be shifted to a hospital because he has the right to health. Now right to livelihood, again we have the right to do any job, and main thing, right to live. Every person has the right to live. कोई भी किसी को भी मार नहीं सकता है. Then it will be coming under the murder case. So every person, अगर कोई suicide भी करता है तो that is also wrong. He will be punished for that. Now one more article, it is written here, Article 21A. Why this Article 21A is mentioned here? It says that right to education, that is every child who is at the age of from 6 to 14 has the right to get education under 86th Amendment Act 2002. It is written 21A because it has been included in Article 21A. We can't and it has been given in 2002. That's why it is included in between, because already Article 22 and 23 has been mentioned. That's why we have given this article as 21A. Next article is Article 22. It means protection against arrest and detention. So it follows certain procedures which have been established by law. It can be explained under two different circumstances. First is the ordinary circumstances. It says that protection against arbitrary arrest. That is, you can ask that why you have been arrested, on which grounds the person has been arrested. Second, the person has to be present before the court of law within 24 hours. And third one, the right to consult a lawyer. That is, he has to have a lawyer, and state will give you the lawyer if you don't have money. That is under ordinary circumstances, the arrest under ordinary circumstances. Now coming to the next circumstance, that is the preventive detention. What does preventive detention means? First of all, we should learn this. It is the detention of a person without trial. That is, you have been kept in a prison without trial. आपको trial के लिए नहीं कोर्ट में जाना पड़ता है. So the object of preventive detention is not to punish a person for having committed a crime, but to prevent him for doing so. That is, you have not been arrested that you have done a particular crime, but no further crime you should commit. That is the meaning of preventive detention. That is, you are prevented from doing further crime. Just for example, if some communal rights are spread in your state, then if a person is involved in that particular crime and he is doing some illegal things like he is burning the buses and everything, or on the basis of suspicion also he has been arrested. So in that case he is arrested so that he doesn't do that further communal rights. Under preventive detention, a person can be kept in a custody or a prison for a period of 3 months without trial. Okay, and if this period is increased, it can be only be increased by advisory board or by a judge of a high court. So this detention cannot be increased beyond, or it can be increased beyond 3 months by a high court judge. Next, the person has to be informed on which grounds he has been arrested. That is, grounds of detention have to be specified, and the detainee, that is the prisoner, must be informed of these grounds. Next fundamental right is the right against exploitation, and first one is Article 23. It says that prohibition of trafficking in human beings. Now, what is the meaning of trafficking here? Trafficking means that is selling and buying of the children or women or human beings and then selling it to the other countries. And in second one is freedom from slavery. That is, earlier times it was said that if a farmer was not able to pay the money, if he has taken some loan from a zamindar and he was not able to pay, for example, 10,000 rupees. So in that case, that farmer had to work in the house of the zamindar till that money was paid. But now this slavery, this has been abolished in our country. बेगरी, that is भीख मांगना, you can say, जो छोटे छोटे बच्चे होते हैं उनको भीख मंगवाते हैं on the traffic signals. So this has been declared as a right against exploitation, that the child is being exploited in that case. Now, other forms of forced labor, that is, nobody is forced to do any labor without any money. That if he is doing some work, he has to be paid for that. Now coming to Article 24, it says that prohibition of employment of children in factories, mines, etc. That is, no child that is below the age of 14 years is allowed to work in any of the factories which is dangerous, like working in the mines, which is very dangerous for the small child to work there. So under Article 24, it has been said that children are not allowed to work in any of the dhabas, you can say, or they are not allowed to work in any of restaurants, hotels, etc. And they have the right to get education. So in Article 21A, we have already explained that a child has the right to get free education. Now coming to the fourth fundamental right, that is the right to freedom of religion. And it comes under Article 25 to 28. Article 25 says that all persons are entitled to freedom of conscience and the right to freely profess, practice and propagate their religion. So let us come to this word, the freedom of conscience. It means that every citizen has the right to choose their own religion, to have belief, faith and worship. Next word is profess. It means that you have the right to declare that which religion you are following. Either you are following the Hindu religion or Muslim religion or any other religion. Next is to practice. You can practice any rituals, ceremonies or any culture which is related to your religion. And propagate. You can propagate your religion in any way. That is, you belong to a Hindu religion, then you have the right to propagate your own religion, and you are not allowed to force any other person to follow your religion. Article 26 says that freedom to manage religious affairs. It means that Constitution guarantees the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes. Every religious sect has the right to own and acquire movable as well as immovable properties. Now, Article 27 says prohibition of taxes taken on religious grounds. No taxes shall be levied, and the income from which is meant for the maintenance of any particular religion, the state cannot take any taxes, because it will be against the ideas of a secular state, as our India is a secular state. So it cannot promote any religion by taking the taxes. That is wrong. Now, Article 28 says freedom to attend religious ceremonies at educational institutions. That is, the educational institutions can perform any of the religious ceremonies, and every child which is attending those educational institutions, whether it is a Christian school, whether it is a madrasa, whether it is related to a Hindu religion school, then they are performing all the religious ceremonies there, and everybody has the right to attend those religious ceremonies in a particular educational institutions, which are receiving partial funds from the state. But another point says that no religious instruction shall be provided in any institution wholly maintained out of state funds. We are talking about those institutions which are getting funds, that is total funds the state is giving them, like your, for example, Kendriya Vidyalaya or military school. In these institutions, no religious ceremonies are performed, but only related to nation and national leaders, all these ceremonies are performed there. Next fundamental right, that is fifth fundamental right, is cultural and educational rights, which comes under Article 29 and 30. Article 29 states that protection of minorities. For example, that is the minorities here are the Sikh and Buddhists, Jains, Christians. These are all minorities group, and they have the right to preserve their own language, script and culture. They have the right to follow their own language and writing and culture, whatever culture they are following. And if they have to take any admission to any education institutions which is maintained by the state, so they will get the education and they will not be discriminated on grounds of religion, color, caste or creed. Now next is Article 30, which says right to minorities to establish educational institutions. It means that they have the right to make their own educational institutions, and the state will not discriminate these educational institutions in the matter of grants, that they will be provided funds from the state. They cannot be discriminated on this basis. Now next article is Article 31. Why I have written this in red? Because this fundamental right has been removed from our constitution. Earlier, this fundamental right had been given by the constitution, and the citizens had the right to purchase, hold and dispose of movable as well as immovable property. But now, according to the amendment, made this right to property as a legal right. Now students, mark these important lines in your textbook. Now it is the question time. Do all these questions in your notebook till we meet again with the next article, that is Article 32. Goodbye.